Benji has a resume. It is a good resume. He spent 3 hours on it last Tuesday, tweaking the font, adjusting the margins, rewriting his bullet points so they sound confident but not arrogant, specific but not boring. He sent it to 14 companies last month. He heard back from 2, and one of those 2 was a rejection, so automated. It arrived 11 seconds after he hit submit. What Benji does not know yet is that in at least 6 of those 14 applications, an AI had already applied for the same role. Not a person, not a competitor with more experience, a system, a model, a thing that does not sleep, does not get nervous, does not wonder if its cover letter was too formal. It just applied, instantly, perfectly formatted. Keyword optimized for the exact applicant tracking system the company uses, and in 3 of those cases, it got further in the process than Benji did. This is not science fiction. This is Tuesday. If this video makes something click that has been quietly terrifying you, hit subscribe. Because this channel exists for exactly that moment. Let's start with what Benji actually does for a living. He works in marketing. Specifically, he writes copy, ads, emails, social posts, product descriptions. He is good at it. He went to school for it. He has 4 years of experience doing it. And until about 18 months ago, that skill set made him employable, reasonably well paid, and moderately confident about his future. Then something changed. Not all at once. Slowly. Then very fast. The first thing Benji noticed was the job postings. The titles looked the same. Marketing coordinator, content strategist, copywriter. But the description started including a new line. Something like proficiency with AI writing tools preferred, or experience integrating generative AI into content workflows required. Benji downloaded one of the tools, played with it for an afternoon, thought it was interesting, did not think it would matter that much. He was wrong about that. By early 2024, a study from researchers at MIT found that workers using AI tools for writing tasks completed them 37% faster and produced output that independent evaluators rated as higher quality. Not slightly higher, meaningfully higher. The productivity gap between someone using AI and someone not using AI in a writing role had become measurable, significant, and growing. Companies noticed, not because they cared about Benji, because they cared about the math. And the math was simple. One person with AI tools could now do what 2 people without them used to do, which meant one of those 2 people was about to become a problem on a spreadsheet. Benji was not fired, not yet. But his team went from 6 people to 4 in 1 quarter. No announcement, no drama. 2 contracts simply were not renewed. The work did not disappear. The output actually increased. Benji looked around at his smaller team and thought, we are doing more with less. He did not yet understand that he was the less. Here is the part that makes the AI job story different from every other automation story in history. And there have been many. The textile workers replaced by looms, the factory workers replaced by assembly lines, the bank tellers replaced by ATMs. Each time, the argument was the same. Yes, these specific jobs are gone, but new jobs will appear. Different jobs, better jobs. The economy adapts. And historically, that argument was correct. New categories of work emerged. The economy did adapt, but this wave is different. And the reason it is different comes down to one word: cognitive. Every previous wave of automation replaced physical labor or highly repetitive rule-based tasks. The loom replaced a hand. The ATM replaced a transaction. What large language models replace is cognitive labor, the kind of thinking, writing, analyzing, summarizing, and deciding that we built our entire white-collar economy on top of. When a machine can read a legal brief and summarize it in 30 seconds, that is not replacing a hand. That is replacing a law degree. When a model can write a marketing campaign in 4 minutes, that is not replacing a factory floor. That is replacing Benji. Goldman Sachs published a report in 2023 estimating that generative AI could automate tasks currently performed by the equivalent of 300 million full-time workers globally. Not replace those workers entirely. Automate the tasks. But when you automate enough of the tasks, the worker becomes optional. Benji is not optional. Benji is a person with rent to pay, a student loan that did not pause while the economy restructured, and a skill set that is being repriced in real time. Not worthless. Not yet, but cheaper. And shrinking. Let's talk about what is actually happening inside the hiring process right now. Because the AI is not just competing with Benji for jobs, it is also deciding whether Benji gets them. Most large companies now use applicant tracking systems, ATS software, to filter resumes before a human ever sees them. This has been true for years. What is new is that these systems are getting smarter. They are not just scanning for keywords anymore. They are using machine learning to score candidates, predict performance, rank applications, and in some cases, conduct initial screening interviews via AI chatbot before a human recruiter is ever involved. Benji applies to a job. An algorithm decides if Benji is worth a human's time. In many cases, a human never enters the picture at all. A 2023 report by Harvard Business School and Accenture found that 88% of employers use automated systems to filter applicants, and that these systems regularly screen out qualified candidates, including people who are a strong match for the role, simply because their resume was not formatted or worded in a way the algorithm recognized. Benji spent 3 hours on his resume. The algorithm spent 0.3 seconds deciding it was not a match. And now, on the other side of this equation, AI agents are beginning to submit job applications autonomously. Tools exist today that allow a user to input their resume once and have the AI apply to hundreds of jobs automatically, customizing each cover letter, answering screening questions, and optimizing every submission for the specific ATS being used. Benji is handcrafting 14 applications. The AI is submitting 400. This is not a future problem. This is the market Benji is already in. So what does Benji do? This is the question everyone asks, and the honest answer is more complicated than the LinkedIn influencers are admitting. The most common advice is, learn to use AI. Become the person who wields the tool, rather than the person the tool replaces. And that advice is not wrong, but it is incomplete, because here's the thing nobody is saying out loud. The skills that made Benji valuable, writing, research, analysis, creative judgment, are the exact skills that AI is getting better at fastest. The gap between what Benji can do and what a model can do is closing, not closed. Closing. And it is closing in the direction of the model. Eric Brynjolfsson, an economist at Stanford and one of the leading researchers on technology and labor markets, has argued that we are in a period he calls the productivity J-curve. In the short term, AI disrupts workflows faster than workers can adapt. Productivity appears to stall or decline in some sectors. Workers feel the instability. Jobs shift. Anxiety rises. But in the longer term, if society makes the right investments in education, retraining, and safety nets, a new equilibrium emerges. New kinds of work appear that humans are better suited for than machines. The operative phrase there is, if society makes the right investments. Benji is not waiting for society. Benji is paying rent on the first of the month. By 2026, the data is becoming clearer. The sectors experiencing the sharpest AI-driven job displacement are not the ones people expected. It is not just customer service and data entry. It is junior roles in law, finance, consulting, marketing, and media. The entry-level positions that used to serve as the on-ramp to a career, the jobs where you learned by doing, are disappearing first. Senior roles still require human judgment, relationships, accountability. But the ladder that used to lead to those senior roles is losing rungs. Benji is at the bottom of that ladder, looking up, wondering which rung comes next. And here's the part that keeps Benji up at night more than anything else. It is not that he might lose his job. It is that he might not even know when it happened, because the transition is not a moment. There is no day where a robot walks into the office and says, your services are no longer required. It is slower and quieter than that. It is a headcount that does not get backfilled. A freelance budget that gets cut because the AI subscription is cheaper. A promotion that goes to the person on the team who figured out how to use the tools 6 months earlier than everyone else. Benji might already be in the middle of being replaced, and the quarterly earnings call where his company celebrates improved margins will not mention his name once. So the next time someone tells you that AI will create more jobs than it destroys, do not argue with them. They might be right, in the long run, for someone. But ask them one question. Ask them what Benji is supposed to do between now and then. Ask them who is going to retrain him. Ask them who is paying his rent while the economy figures itself out. And if they do not have a good answer, tell them that is exactly the point. Because Benji is not worried about the future of work. Benji is worried about next month, and the month after that. And the version of himself that is still sending out resumes in a market where the algorithm reads them before any human does, and where the competition is not another person who stayed up late getting the margins right. The competition does not sleep. It does not have margins. And it applied before Benji even opened the job listing. If this hit different than you expected, subscribe. There is a lot more where this came from. And share this one, because someone in your life is quietly terrified about exactly this and does not have the words for why.